Hello and welcome everybody back to the Far From OK podcast, episode 2. And I just want to say thank you for the first week, everybody, with the subscriptions and the shares, the likes. I really appreciate that, man. That's on YouTube at the Far From OK podcast. And this will be episode 2. I'm still rolling solo, but that's okay. My partner in crime will be here eventually, and we'll get him squared away as soon as he does. It is beautiful weather out there in Pennsylvania today if you're in the northeastern part of the country. And so I just want to thank everybody for stopping back and giving us a second round. And pay attention weekly and daily for content, little shorts and whatnot. So, bear with us. We're getting it done. A little bit more every day, a little bit more every episode. We'll be a little bit more comfortable. Things will be a little bit better. So, I wanted to talk today a little bit about the different forms of election interference that could possibly exist out there, because I was watching the news, and I know Glenn Youngkin right now is being sued by the Department of Justice for removing 1,600 plus non-citizens from the voting ballots. And this is direct interference by the DOJ themselves. Youngkin's not doing anything wrong. I think it's in the Constitution that only citizens should be able to vote. But for some reason, him doing that and following the law as it states, per Virginia, he's being sued by the Department of Justice for removing these names. Now, they're using certain things to create a bit of an issue for this. They're saying that certain people could be citizens, so it disenfranchises them. But the fact of the matter remains that the majority of what he's done are definitely non-citizens. So it's really kind of a silent argument on the other side. I don't understand how you could back allowing illegal immigrants or anybody that's a non-citizen of the state of Virginia itself to vote. And this type of election interference isn't the type that they've told you about. They told you it was going to come in the form of ballot boxes and, mail-in ballots and stuff like that. But this is actually the Department of Justice stepping in and stopping somebody from doing their job effectively. So what we have at this point is an issue where we know that everybody that's been against the pro-immigration movement, the people that don't want illegal immigrants to come into this country, steal jobs, create safety concerns, hurt the economy, make it harder for people in cities to maintain their lives as new people come in and make room for themselves. We know that there's been a big push by the right and the conservative side to not allow these illegal immigrants to come into the country. And one of the main reasons has been because it is setting up something like this. This is going to be a voter fraud, massive scale if they are allowed to progress with this. The problem as it sits is that everybody who agrees with me, and I personally feel that illegal immigrants should be sent back. I don't believe that illegal immigration is right in any form. I do believe in immigration through process, but I don't believe in what's happening over the last 4 years. And a person that is of my mindset would say, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And a person on their side would say something to the effect, you have no idea what these people have been through, you have no idea what it takes for them to get here, yada, yada, yada. I understand that there are extenuating circumstances that have brought people to the border. I also understand that there are a lot of bad apples coming through the border. And so what happens now is people like myself get to say, I told you so. And this is exactly what we were talking about. States are trying to either permit these people to vote by setting them up with temporary licenses, work applications, and then they're using that as a form of ID in order to vote in some states. I think Minnesota's having an issue with this as well right now. So this is what we were talking about. And whether it's happening on a grand scale or if it's not happening on a grand scale, the issue still exists as it was predicated by the people that said it would happen. We've been calling for this. We need free and fair elections. Now, when COVID hit, I'd never seen mail-in ballots be so popular in my life. Now, you would think they would have pulled back on that a little bit, but now they just exist as a form of voting, which to me is a little bit... it's not exactly running a tight ship on the elections, right? If people don't have to show up in person with ID in order to provide information about who they actually are, then how is anybody to have full faith in a system that's allowing people to vote that aren't citizens, or vote without ID, or vote by mail, and then these ballots get lost, or these ballots get brought in last second whenever numbers are that tight, and it just makes everybody wonder what's going on. Now, if you're on the winning side, obviously you're not going to say much, but that doesn't mean that if it happens to you, you're not going to open your mouth about it. So coming out of COVID, we already had election issues. This is just furthering the agenda of election issues that we were dealing with since then. There's a reason people don't want to certify the 2020 election. There's a reason people don't believe that the election went down legitimately. And you can't fault them whenever you can't provide the information for those people to see that they're wrong. And then when you further the issue by allowing things like this to happen, and your very own Department of Justice is stepping in to sue the state from doing its due diligence and its job as per the law, then how does anybody have faith in this system? Do you really believe that it's 50-50 Trump and Kamala at this point? Do you really believe, from the crowds and the turnout and the support and the way that you see things across the country when you drive through small towns and large towns and cities alike, and the support that you see on one side or the support that you see on the other, do you really believe in your mind that the polling is right? Because I don't. I don't think that there's any substantial evidence that would tell us that pollsters are any more accurate than weathermen. But it does a lot to create, in the mindset of the people that want to believe in something, a reason to hold on to hope. And right now it looks like the Democrats are running scared because they know they backed the wrong horse. $90 million have been allocated for the Democrats when Joe Biden was still running. They had one of two options whenever they kicked him out of his seat. Either give it to the VP and continue a campaign with her as the front runner, or return the funds. They had to do this. They weren't going to give the money back, so they had to cover shit with gold and tell you that it was a truffle. And it's not. She was never a good candidate because she never, ever had votes for her. She received the least amount of votes. Yeah. So if she wasn't liked as a presidential candidate back then, how did they think that she was going to be accepted after people got 4 years to see how awful she actually was and then try to recreate something? Well, you have to understand that money had to be allocated somewhere, or it had to be given back. She was their only option. So back to the election interference. And that's another part of it. I mean, if you're looking at it realistically, you have to realize that 14 million votes just got kicked to the curb whenever she got put in. People that had voted for Joe Biden now had voted for Kamala Harris by default. Had they had that option before in 2020, they didn't vote for Kamala Harris. So now you told all the people that voted for Joe Biden instead of Kamala Harris that now it was only Kamala Harris. So they pulled the wool. They did a little slip of the hand. The problem is she was never a likable person. She was never a good person. She was never right for the job. She was the only person that they could turn to. That's why it's been such a hard campaign to turn her personal and public image around. But if you notice, anytime she's pressed, she's not a good person. Not Hillary 2.0, but close. It doesn't make any sense. Now, as far as immigration goes, as it pertains to the general election, I think states should do their jobs. And if they do their jobs and stick to their guns, everything should go back to normal. As far as not allowing people without ID or non-citizens to be able to vote in elections. Having said that, the immigration problem itself is already here. I've been saying for the last couple of years it's been around 11 or 12 million. I think we're up around 20 some now. That doesn't include the 200,000 that they were flying in overnight when nobody was watching the border and nobody was doing anything down there. These people were coming in the sky and you didn't even know it. They're showing up in your towns and they're showing up at your houses. They're everywhere you look. They're in traffic. They're cutting people off. They have no insurance. If you're in the northeastern part of the U.S., they might have Ohio plates because they don't have inspection. There's a lot going on here that needs to be paid attention to. I told people this a long time ago, probably around the time Trump got out of office, because the wall was such a big issue at that time. And I used to tell people that as it pertains to immigration, since people don't really have a memory of 9/11 and what happened to this country as a result of 9/11, now that we have 18 and 20-year-olds voting who were never here when it happened, since people seem to have forgotten the importance of that issue, as it pertains to immigration, I've always had this thought process on it. If I gave you a bag of 100 M&Ms and you knew one, I'll give you 1,000 M&Ms. One of them's poison. It will kill you. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. You wouldn't touch the bag at all. You wouldn't risk not one of 1,000 for the sake that it might kill you. But that's what we did with illegal immigration. They've let people into this country under the guise that they need help. They've let people in from all parts of the world under the idea that they need us and they need amnesty and they need shelter. And they've allowed people to come in that they know want to hurt us. They know that there are people here that have ill intentions. And I'm not talking about the criminals, the 500,000 or so criminals that are here that shouldn't be. I'm talking about people that actually want to hurt the U.S. government, people that want to hurt this country from the inside while they're operating with people from the outside. The world's in no place for us to be allowing illegal immigrants to come across the border at the rates that they are. This is wrong, and it has been. As far as comparing illegal immigration from Trump administration to Kamala's, I don't remember there being an illegal immigration issue under the Trump administration. In fact, I could say that under Obama it wasn't an issue. But under Biden, because they were so eager to reverse Trump policy, it's been an entire epidemic. Now, as far as the FEMA funding and how that went, if they did use FEMA funds to fund illegal immigrants to get them a jump start when they came through the door, that's nothing more than an admission by the U.S. government that immigration is a disaster. I don't understand where people's minds are at on this whole thing. I see a lot of people, and I was listening the other day, she had to be in her 70s. Beautiful house, probably $500,000. And to listen to her talk politics to a guy, you would think she watched everything on Sesame Street. The things she was saying sounded like they were made up in preschool. And she's really sticking by. This is an educated person that has money and absolutely no idea what they're talking about. This once again goes back to doing your research, understanding what's going on, because this is going to make or break us as a people whenever this election goes down. You cannot allow the things to happen that have happened over the last 4 years with these people. Not only that, the next generation of that administration wants to put more government involvement in your life. Mandatory gun buybacks aren't gun buybacks at all. They're just mandatory gun returns. Having these type of things happen where people can come in and the government can steal patents, the government can come in and tell people how much or who or what they can produce is not good. It's not anywhere near good. It's almost as if the government that we live in recognizes that we're too free for our own good. They would rather us be in a dictatorship where we're told exactly what we can do. It's easier to control us that way, and at this point, I think it's safe to say that no one person runs this country. So it's coming up on November 5th, election time, and I beg you to do your diligence. Get out there and check things out. Do your homework before you vote. Don't vote down party lines. I don't think that's necessary. At this point, it might be because things are so far left, but if you vote down party lines, you're not doing anybody any justice. Try to make an accurate decision for every piece of government that you vote in. Because the problem is you don't get to vote on what they vote on next. Once you put them in office, they get to walk away from you, and they get to make decisions whether you want them to or not. So try to get the people that have your best interest at heart. I don't care if this guy's from Connecticut and this guy is a small town guy from a local, from a local place. It's whoever's trying to do the most and do the best for you. They don't get your vote for free. You should demand more of your politicians. Once again, I mean, they work for you. You don't work for them. So make them work for you, and don't work for them. This has been the episode 2. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. I know I'm out here trying to one-man this thing right now, and it gets a little bit drony, I'm sure, sometimes. But I'm just trying to keep it together and deliver a message, man, that I care about people, and I'm tired of seeing them getting screwed over. You want less government involvement in your life, not more. Government should never be the one to come up. So, yeah. I just wanna say again, man, I appreciate all the support, the subscriptions and likes. I want you guys to get out there and do a little bit of homework and then just check things out. If you disagree with what I say, then comment on it. It's not gonna bother me in the least. I may or may not even respond. But for the people out there that are grinding for me and just taking the time out of their day to donate to listening to me ramble on, I appreciate it. It'll get better as we go on. I'm getting a little more comfortable in this thing, and we'll just keep on trucking. Hopefully we got some positivity coming up around the bend, and we can finally get our heads out of our asses a little bit as a society, realize what we have and what we're about to lose. So follow, man, YouTube at the Far From Okay podcast. And like I said, daily content, and we'll try and get some shorts out there, deliver some messages as I hear things, as I pick up on news. I'll kind of throw it out there to bring a little bit of awareness to things. And as always, man, you guys are the best. Later.